Hey, what's up, everybody? So, trying out this YouTube live for the first time ever in my life. So, this is all new to me. So, bear with me. But I'm going to do a Q&A tonight where you guys can ask whatever questions that you like. And I'm here to give you the advice you're looking for. So, whenever you're ready, I always like for people as they're joining in, tell me where you're coming from. Tell me what city that you're in so I know that where you guys are at. And just start asking your questions whenever you like. And we will get to this live Q&A. Let's see. We got a good amount of people joining in so far. And real quick, shout out to everybody who follows me, who subscribes to my channel. I love y'all. I appreciate all the love and support. And I hope, you are finding the videos helpful and the books helpful and all these different things. So, like I said, I wanted to give back today. And I also have a special offer. I'll mention it a little bit later. But for right now, let's start to get to some of these questions. I see a lot of cities. I see Brooklyn. I see Columbus, Ohio, Ocala, Charlotte, Niceville. I never heard of Niceville, Florida. Interesting. Chicago, Ridgeland, Mississippi. I believe that's Mississippi. Lawrenceville, Georgia. I was literally just in Lawrenceville, Georgia. So shout out to Lawrenceville, Georgia. Augusta, Georgia. Atlanta, which is where I'm at. Selma, North Carolina. Seen a lot of cities. That's awesome. Baltimore, Sydney. I'm assuming Sydney, Australia. So shout out to the international subscribers. Yonkers, Kansas. We got a lot. But like I said, whenever you guys are ready, I appreciate it. Keep telling me those cities that you're in, but also start shooting me some questions so we can get to that as well. So let's see. All right. I usually don't touch on race-specific questions, but I'm gonna touch on this because it was asked, and I feel like I should give an answer. So the question is, how do you date in a city where Black women aren't preferred? So here's the thing: when a certain group is not quote unquote preferred, is because there are certain perceptions about that group. So whether it be Black women or whatever kind of women, the people in that area or the people that you're dealing with carry certain negative perceptions. However, you don't have to give into those perceptions, meaning no matter how they perceive Black women in that area, if you don't fall into those stereotypes, if you don't show them that you are the same as those negative perceptions that they have, then you'll find that people would still date you, even in that area where it seems like they don't date women like you. So don't get caught up in that perception of they don't prefer that type of woman. Because listen, I'm pretty sure there are Black women in your area who are still finding some success, who are still being taken out, who are finding relationships, so on and so forth. So when we self-defeat by believing that, oh, well, the people here don't want us, or the city that I'm in doesn't have many options, or whatever the case may be, we don't realize that we're creating this self-fulfilling prophecy when in actuality it's not the way that we think it is. And we have to ask ourselves again, what are those negative perceptions that they have? And if I'm not those things, then I don't need to worry about that. Now, on the flip side of that, we live in a world where the digital social media and things of that nature exist. So there's always options outside the city. There's always online dating where you can explore outside of your area. So if it is genuinely that bad, which again, I really don't believe it's ever as bad as we think, but even if you think that it's genuinely that bad, then you can still go online to see other options and people who are going to be open to dating women such as yourself. But I really don't think it's really as bad as we think. And again, I think it's always due to the negative perceptions. And sometimes we have to understand that there are groups of people who are like us who fall into those negative perceptions. But if we don't, then we don't need to worry about that. Let's see here. Okay. All right, this one says, I'm dating someone who I'm assuming who doesn't want to put a title on our relationship. So stop dating them. Like I wish I could give you a better answer, but to be honest with you, if you want a serious relationship, if you're looking for commitment and you're dealing with someone who does not want to give you a title, who does not want to make it official, stop dating them. If you keep dating them, then you are enabling his behavior. You are saying, okay, I'm going to accept your unwillingness to fully commit to me. What incentive does he now have to even try to? And at this point, he doesn't even need an incentive. If he, for whatever reason, refuses to take things to another level, then chances are he's just not the guy for you. And so the quicker you can just accept that and cut him loose, the better for you. Because if you keep holding on, it's not going to change. You're going to become more frustrated. And a lot of men or a lot of people will drag things along as long as you allow them to. All right. And you'll just find yourself in this never-ending cycle of unhappiness with someone who showed you from the beginning they're not willing to give you what you're looking for. Let's see here. Um, Okay, I guess this is a good follow-up question. Do you even believe that titles are important? Hell yes. I absolutely 100% believe titles are important because you got to look at it like this. All right. Some people can say it's just a title. It doesn't mean much. If they're willing to behave a certain way and do for you, then what's the problem? The problem is if someone is truly into you, truly willing to be committed to you, then why wouldn't they give you the title? If it's such an irrelevant thing, if it doesn't hold much weight, then on the flip side, then why couldn't I give it to you? If it's not that serious, then it should be easy to be like, you know what? Boom. I'm going to give you this title. I'm going to make it official. But what you're going to find is in most cases, individuals who are unwilling to give titles are people who are not trying to be that serious with you. They may like the whole boyfriend and girlfriend dynamic, but they don't want to be fully committed. And putting that title on it fully commits them. So they run from that. So, yes, titles are important because those who are serious about the person, they don't have a problem giving it. They don't. It's not that serious for them to not give it. So if they're not giving it, there's a problem. All right. So we got a question here. If a guy, and just so you know, again, I'm new to this, but I believe if you want to like push your question to the top, there's a super chat or something function that allows you to do that. So this next question is from the super chat. So she did it. So I'm going to read her question. So it says, if a guy doesn't call or text you, but as soon as you call or text them, they immediately answer, should you leave them alone? Not immediately. The first step should be addressing why is this the case? Asking them, okay, I don't hear from you. Why aren't you calling? I would like to hear from you more. If you're serious about getting to know me, I need you to make an effort. Now, if in that conversation they give you nothing but excuses, dance around it, or deflect, leave them alone because then they're showing you they're not serious. But as crazy as it may sound, sometimes people may not understand. Or, for example, what's coming to me right now is let's say this guy, and this doesn't validate his behavior, but it's just explaining the possibilities. Let's say this guy has been hurt, is a little gun shy when it comes to calling and initiating. Maybe he felt like he put a lot of effort into the last one, and he got played. And so now he's kind of played this, I don't want to seem all desperate or into her game or whatever. Again, not saying it's okay, but it may simply be him trying to manage the situation, manage his feelings. Now, in you talking to him, that will be able to come out. All right. And you'll be able to see clearly if he has genuine intentions or is he playing games. But if you just run now and cut them off, then you don't really know what's going on. So many situations can be resolved by communication, and too many people don't communicate. So I would say talk to him first, and then we can decide if we need to cut him off or not. So let's see here. Again, there's a lot of questions. So if you want your question made a priority, just use, I believe it's the super chat. Again, I don't know exactly what it's called. It's my first time doing this, but I believe it's the super chat. All right, so let's see what else we got here. Let's. Okay, this one says, how do you stop to feel for the guy when you see red flags? Again, we have to understand that red flags aren't assigned to just run. Red flags are things to address. It will become very clear after you start talking to the individual and while you're addressing it, if it now is something you need to cut and run from. But don't assume. Too many of us have lingering issues and we become very triggered by certain things. And we don't realize that we're reacting rather than addressing. And that's why one of the things I always tell people is pray before you react, because it may not be a situation where you need to think negatively. It may be a misunderstanding, it may be miscommunication. So when you see a red flag, address it. Someone who is serious about you will be willing to correct the red flag. If they have nothing but excuses, then that's when you say, all right, they're not either ready or willing to do what's necessary to have a serious and healthy relationship. At this point, cut them off. Okay, so this question says, another super chat question. Hello, I've been married for 14 years, but I feel like he is just comfortable now. How do I get that spark back? All right. Whenever now, just so you guys know, I am an actual certified coach. So I have sat down with hundreds, maybe thousands of couples, singles, you name it, just tons of people in coaching. And so whenever I have couples, married or just long-term relationships, and they talk about bringing the spark back, the first thing I mention is take a step back and consider, when was the spark there? All right. Once we can locate when was the spark existing in the relationship, now we have to evaluate what existed at that time. What was the dynamic of our relationship? Was the spark there because we had more time to give to each other? Or that was one of the factors that was at play at the time? Was the spark there at a time where maybe some people may not like this, but I'm just going to keep it real, where we physically looked a certain way and we don't look like that anymore? We've deviated far from that. What else was there? The way we may have spoke to each other. What were the things that were at play back then that are no longer existing now? So the first step is the step after we recognize those things is to start to bring those things back. One of the reasons why people have a hard time maintaining the spark in the relationship is because we have a hard time maintaining who they fell in love with. And that can go both ways. Like, for example, when you sit down and speak to a lot of married women, one common complaint is he doesn't take me out anymore. He doesn't give me the time he used to. So the problem is, like, people are expecting the other to still maintain the same level of love and commitment, but while they've dropped off in the treatment and what they've given to their partner early on in the relationship. That's not fair. That's not reasonable. We have to look at, okay, what can we start to bring back that once existed? Yes, there may be some things that we cannot completely bring back depending on the dynamic and where we are in life and things of that nature. But for the things that we can, we must re-invite them back into the relationship. Now, also, you need to sit down with your partner and discuss what is it that they need and what is it that you need. But notice I said what they need and what you need. Too many couples, what happens is you have one person addressing the other individual saying, well, I need this, you don't do this, so on and so forth. Never opening themselves up to what the other person needs. People aren't going to be receptive to you if you're making it all about you. They're much more receptive when you invite them to the discussion by including their concerns, their feelings, their desires. So you got to come to that table saying, all right, let's both lay out what we need from each other, what we're missing, what we would like to see change. And let's not take offense to it. We get offended by, oh, well, you don't do this anymore. Oh, how could you say that? Listen, because it's the truth. Let's accept that. And now again, let's get on the same page. Let's see if we can agree to implementing these things. And now watch how the spark starts to come back. But I feel the need to say it. I'm going to say it. I would argue that for a lot of people, the spark dying is heavily dependent on physical attraction. When you really examine a lot of long-term relationships or long-term marriages, you will find that the spark dying correlates with the attraction diminishing. And so we have to be very mindful and willing to accept that if we have deviated far from what we once were in our presentation, that we should be willing to work on that if we truly want to bring back that spark. Because I'm going to tell you, when you can bring back a strong physical attraction into a relationship, watch how fast a spark comes back with it. All right, so let's see here. All right, so this question says, another super chat question. I caught my guy talking to other girls on social media. So he blocked me. What should I say or do to get him to unblock me? Should I leave him? Okay, I gotta read that one more time. I caught my guy talking to other girls on social media. So he blocked me. What should I say or do to get him to unblock me? Should I leave him? So your last question is what you need to be focusing on. Yes, you should leave him. Listen, so here's the thing. I'm always about addressing issues, okay? And so I'm not going to be against you attempting to address the issue with him. That's always a great first step. But what's disturbing about this situation is that you caught him acting inappropriately, and the way he proceeds to handle that is by blocking you. And now you want him to unblock you. Like, this shows you right there. This is a man who's not willing to properly communicate and help and address the issue in a healthy manner. Now, again, I am willing to, like, the first time you do something bad, something shady or whatever, I'm willing to let you slide. When I say slide, I don't mean ignore it. I mean, we're going to address it. And if you show me that you're willing to accept that it was an issue and work on correcting it, cool. But after that, we can't keep going back and forth. So I will say to you, address it with him, attempt to. But if he is unwilling to address it and correct it and get on the same page as you, then yes, absolutely, you should leave him, because this already sounds like the beginning or the extension of a toxic relationship. So let's see here. Excuse me. Uh, where is this? Where is this? Okay, this question says, should you stay single with healing and growing? All right, so I'm assuming what you're asking is basically, should you remain single while you're trying to go through the process of healing and self-growth? It would be best. Trying to be in a relationship while you're trying to heal, it's not that it's impossible, but it's extremely unlikely. Because again, you have to understand that you are still holding on to past hurt. You're still trying to work through that. And therefore, you're in a position where you can still be easily triggered. Okay. It's almost like if you injured your ankle and you try to play a sport again, you could conceivably function playing that sport, but your ankle is going to be more susceptible to re-injury. So in a relationship, if you are in one while trying to heal, you are more likely to be re-damaged. You're more likely to be triggered while going through the process. So you can find yourself where you take 5 steps forward, 10 steps back. And it's this ongoing cycle where when you look back, you're like, I didn't really make any progress, because you're in this constant state of going back into that negative place and being triggered and all these things. So it is best to be single while going through the healing process, to at least establish a strong enough foundation to where you aren't going to backslide to the really negative place. Where yes, we're going to all have our moments. We may all make mistakes here and there, but you've got to have a strong enough foundation of healing that you can handle what comes your way in a healthy manner and not fall back into a toxic negative cycle. So again, staying single would be best. Not impossible to heal while in a relationship. It's just very difficult. Let's see here. All right. Where is the line drawn between a woman pursuing a man and her just showing she cares. All right. So here's the thing. A woman or man, but let's just focus on women. A woman needs to be who she is. If you are a loving, nurturing woman, all right, I don't want you to stop being that, because that creates a whole nother host of issues. What I want you to do is be your true self and then require that this man step up to match that energy. All right. Don't dumb yourself down in who you really are. All right, because you're trying to not come across as doing too much or, again, pursuing the man. No, if you're someone who likes to put on a full effort, which you should, then you do that. Just require that he do the same. And then when you see that he cannot or he is unwilling to match your energy, release him, let him go. And the reality is that the quickest way to see if someone is serious about you and on the same page as you is for you to not hold back. Is for you to be who you truly are. Now, understand, you gotta recognize the difference between not holding back and being your true self versus trying to do things to hoping he will like you in return. If you're doing it to get him to want you, to get him to like you, to essentially manipulate the situation, then that's a problem. That's unhealthy. So I don't want you doing too much out of a lack of self-esteem and self-worth. However, if you are naturally a loving, caring person, you're naturally someone who wants to talk every day, be that. Be that, because he needs to see who your true self is. And then the person who's truly for you will embrace that. The person who isn't will show that they cannot match your energy. And now you can weed them out as fast as possible. All right, we got another super chat question. This says, what to say when a guy you're on a date with asks, what type of guys are you attracted to physically? Tell them the truth. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna ever tell y'all to lie. Like, I'm not gonna tell you to make up some stuff to make him feel better. Be honest. I mean, I understand, of course, there's a level of tact in delivering that message. And you don't want to insult anyone while describing what you're attracted to, but you also don't need to lie. Lying is setting a foundation of other problems in that potential relationship. So just be honest. What are you typically attracted to? Or, if you don't have a specific type, then just say, I don't really have a type. I just like, men with good energy, whatever the case may be, but just be honest, because anything outside of that can cause problems. Because now if you tell him I'm attracted to this when you're really attracted to something else, and he catches or senses that you are attracted to that different type of guy, now you create insecurity in that relationship. And now, again, you start to cause other problems. All right, another super chat question. This says, how to get over a person who does not want a relationship with you. After 7 years, I thought we were in love, but he doesn't want it. So one, I'm sorry to hear that you're dealing with that. And I know that can be extremely difficult. One, it's funny. I literally just made a video for YouTube. It probably won't post till next week, but it's called A Breakup is a Blessing in Disguise. And one of the things I mentioned in that is a lot of times that breakup needs to happen because you were never going to let go. And the reality is that they're just not for you. They were never for you, but you got caught up in the attachment, and you may feel like it's love. And I don't want to dismiss your feelings in any kind of way, but I just want to bring to light that for many people, it's not love, it's an unhealthy attachment. And that can feel like love sometimes. And when we've invested so much, to invest 7 years, it becomes more and more difficult to walk away and accept that this individual just was never the guy for you. So part of that is, of course, there's going to be a lot of praying and talking to God, but this is where you got to go through the healing process. And this is why you have to address even some of the deeper issues that may have existed before this 7-year relationship, because there was something else going on within you that contributed to why you were attached to this man for 7 years without him being the man you needed him to be. Because he didn't just stop being the man in year 7. That dude wasn't the man you need to be for a long time, And so, and I don't want you to beat yourself up about it, but I do want you to realize that, again, this is just the fruition of, or the reality of what was existing the whole time that maybe you weren't fully grasping and willing to embrace. But by going through the healing process and addressing whatever previous lingering issues you have, you'll be able to overcome that. So please, I would highly encourage you. I do have a book called Love After Heartbreak. I do believe it does give you the exact steps to healing that I give my clients. I would highly encourage you getting that. Also, let me just mention, because I said I was going to make a special announcement. For anyone who does want, a lot of people ask me for coaching. Slots are limited, but I also have a special coaching program. I have one coming for the men. I have one already open for the women. It will change your life. It will teach you about healing, tapping into your feminine energy, hearing God more clearly, finding your purpose. It's creating or receiving that life and the man that God has for you. If you are interested in joining that group, I'm limiting it to just 20 spots available. Go to receivingmyblessings.com, www.receivingmyblessings.com. Let me see if I can put it right here in the chat box so you can get it. The first 20 spots taken will be it. Receivingmyblessings.com. There we go. All right, so let's continue here. All right, so another super chat question. It says, do you ever have meet and greets for single people? Thank you for this live. Well, my pleasure for the live. And no, I don't ever have meet and greets. I haven't ventured into that. Maybe one day in the future. I pray about everything I do, and I have not felt called to do a meet and greet or anything of that nature yet. I'm a firm believer that God is the best matchmaker, the only true matchmaker. I'm just here to help clear away the issues that hinder people from receiving who is best for them, from being able to have healthy relationships. But I'm not really, of course, in a meet and greet, I'm not going to pick people for you. But I just feel like so many of us meet that person in a natural flow of life. Some of you have that person in your life, but you've been running from it and you've been scared to embrace it because, again, you haven't fully healed. And to me, that's what needs to be prioritized. And in doing that, not only will you be able to receive that great partner, but a greater quality of life and greater success in all areas of your life. Another super chat question. It says, how healed do you have to be to start dating again? Or when do you know you're ready? All right. You know you're ready when you are not carrying negative perceptions into your new relationship. You know you are ready when you are prepared to be fully vulnerable in a new relationship. You know you are ready when you are now leaning more on God. If you are believers, let me just be fair, because maybe some of you are not. But when you are leaning more on God rather than what people got to say, and sometimes even your mind, because our mind can play tricks on us sometimes. I always say the eyes can be tricked, the ears can be tricked, but the spirit knows the truth always. And the more you learn to get in tune with your spirit, the better. So in really evaluating if you have healed, are you moving forward in a positive mindset? Have you resolved negative perceptions? Are you ready and willing to be vulnerable? Many people say, I want love, I want that real relationship. And then when that amazing partner comes their way, they're like, what the hell's going on? I can't handle this. This is too vulnerable. This is too scary. And that is proof that they were never really healed. So that's how you know. And I will say one more sign that you've healed is when you can talk or think about something that happened to you before and it doesn't make you hurt. It doesn't trigger you in the moment. Many people, if you start to talk about certain things from your past, your blood will start boiling, or you will start to feel saddened. It will start to affect you when you actually start to talk about it because you've never released it from your system and you have not truly resolved it. But when you resolve it, you will notice it does not trigger you like that anymore. All right, next super chat question. We got a lot of super chat questions. Next one. So he's 20 years older, no sex, but I stayed over his place and we did get intimate. He's also my boss at work. Okay. Now he wants affection all the time. I'm uncomfortable. Best way to confront this with him. Excuse me. Okay, so we're not going to dwell on the fact that you know he's your boss, because that's always a tricky situation, and I would not have advised for you to engage, but it's done. What's done is done. We can't cry over spilled milk. Again, the best thing to do is to have a discussion about it, but to express yourself in a very calm and loving manner. Because again, you this is a delicate situation. He is your boss. You have to work with him. So you don't want to lash out. You don't want to come off in a very negative manner. You can still get your point across, but express yourself calmly and positively. Now, listen, does that guarantee he won't take it a certain wrong way? No, because we don't know how sensitive he might be. We don't know what his actual feelings are in this situation. So again, it's tricky, it's delicate, but the best thing you can do is just be honest and transparent. Because if you're not honest and transparent and you start to act funny and you start to reject him in a way that he doesn't understand what's going on, now you create resentment. Now you create animosity. And with him being your boss, you run a higher risk of him retaliating through his position. So you've got to really consider that and just say, okay, let me not just act funny or ignore this. Let me be honest and transparent, but express myself calmly and lovingly. All right. Super chat again. Hi, Stephan. I just ended a 1-year relationship 4 days ago because the communication was non existent and he refused to work on the relationship with me. I miss and still love him very much. I'm thinking about going back to him. What do you suggest? Number one, absolutely not. Do not go back to him, because what you stated in this question was clear. He refused to work on the relationship with you. Listen, I'm all for, no one's perfect. And I'm not prepared. I'm not going to condemn people because they made a mistake or they went through a struggle period. But when people are refusing, adamantly refusing to work with you and to put forth proper effort, then there's nothing to work with. There's nothing for you to do there. If you make the mistake of going back to him right now, you are saying to him, I am willing to accept your mistreatment. I am willing to accept your lack of communication. That is a bad precedent to set in that relationship. You should not do that. Now, the fact that you are missing him and still love him, that's normal. It's normal for anyone who has given themselves to someone for an extended period of time to still have lingering feelings, especially 4 days out from the breakup. It's understandable, but do not let it trick you. Do not let it fool you into going back to a place you do not belong. This man has made it clear he's unwilling. Now, if he came to you and said, you know what, I had a revelation, I'm prepared to do better, I understand where I went wrong, I want to work on this, let's talk about this, then cool. I'm all for second chances. If someone can acknowledge what was wrong and show that they're willing to work on it. But without that, there is no chance that should be given. No second, no third, no nothing. He doesn't get it. You got to let him go. And right now, you got to focus again on healing and understand that what you're feeling right now is, a lot of it is attachment. I know a lot of us love to just look at the fact that we love them, we love them, we love them. But I'm telling you, a lot of your struggle right now is attachment, and that needs to be addressed. Let's see. All right, next question says, you once talked about how a lot of men want instant gratification due to technology. Do you think that for men, being with one woman is realistic? Absolutely. I think what women don't understand is that, number one, every man is not wired that way. When I say that way, as in wanting multiple women, I have met countless men who are quote unquote relationship guys. And what I mean by relationship guys is they just want that one person. They just need that stability, that consistency. They're good. They're not out in the streets running around after different women. They're not, that does not register in their brain. They're not built like that. Then you have some men who, this may sound bad, but I'm just gonna be real. They're just happy to have one woman. Like, this ain't, every guy ain't a player. Every guy doesn't have the ability to get multiple women. Don't, we focus so much on the people in the media and those that some may consider highly desirable, and we project their behavior onto society, but we don't realize they are a small subset of society. A bigger percentage of men are not able to just get whoever they want whenever they want. So again, if they can find a great relationship, they're just happy with that great one relationship. They don't need multiple women. So now, are there men whose mentality is they need more than one, they want more than one, so on and so forth. Absolutely, that exists, but that is not the majority, as many may think it is. And I would also argue that if you find a man that you have a genuine connection, then his ability to be with one woman just went up 10, 100 times, because the connection is the real glue. That's what we really need. And so many relationships fail because they lack connection. So let's see here. All right. Oh, here's another super chat question. All right. So this one says, I broke up with my lady. Oh, it's a question from a man. Shout out to the men who are on the live. I broke up with my lady because she went to a party one night with her friends and didn't text me all night. I broke up with her because I feel like if I stayed, then that behavior could continue. Thoughts? So, one, let me always say that your feelings matter. And so I'm never going to dismiss your feelings or anyone's feelings about the situation. I understand if you found it inappropriate for her to be out all night with her friends and not hitting you back. However, one, we have to look at, is this a continued pattern or this is her first time? If this is a symptom of a bigger issue or bigger issues in the relationship, then ending it is acceptable, because it isn't just about that one night. It's about continuous behavior that has been a problem. If she has been consistently good in other ways, and we had this one issue, then I do think that it was too much to just cut it off and end it right there. I think the best thing to do is, again, the first time someone slips up, I'm willing to give a free pass, even if it could be argued that, yeah, she knew what she was doing. But I'm willing to say, okay, you know what? Let's address this. Let's make it very clear that going forward, this isn't acceptable. And if we are going to have a healthy relationship, we need to understand the boundaries. We need to understand what's required of each other and what we both deem as unacceptable or inappropriate behavior. And if we can agree to those things, then okay, we can move forward. So I don't know how she feels now that you cut her off. I don't know if there's still an opportunity to try to reconcile if you even want to. But going forward, whether it's with her or anyone else, I would argue if it's not a symptom of a continuous unhealthy behavior, then have a discussion, lay it out on the line. And if they're not willing to accept what you're saying is necessary and required, then at that time you can proceed with letting them go and cutting things off. So let's see here. Now, someone says sounds controlling. I don't know if they're referring the question I just responded to. And I'm going to say this. If it was in reference to what he just asked, I think to a certain degree, we have to understand that there are things that are common courtesy. If you as a woman had a man who stayed out all night with their friends and never touched base with you, nothing, you would probably feel some kind of way. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of you would. And so many people, I would argue, would at least want, again, just touch base, just a quick check-in or whatever. Let me know everything's good. Let me know what's going on. That's it. To simply just do your thing. Now, if you've already agreed in advance that that's not required in your relationship, but not, by all means, not everyone cares for that. But I would argue that a lot of people would feel some kind of way. And so I think it's not unreasonable to say, hey, you got to check in with me. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be out all night. Not, okay, I'm going to be out till 10 or whatever was agreed upon. Nah, you're going to be out all night with your girls, with your boys, whatever. No, like, just check in. And that's it. I don't think that's much to ask for. So I don't think that's an unreasonable request at all. Let's see. Just so you know, I some of your super chats came through and then they disappeared. So I don't know if there's a time limit on trying to answer it. So I apologize. You could if I don't know if you can resubmit. Again, this is my first time doing this, so I'm trying to figure this all out. But my apologies if I didn't catch your super chat. I was trying to go through all of them. There were a lot of them that came up at one time, and then a few of them disappeared. And then here's another one. All right, so let's see here. Oh, the question's not there yet. Let's see. Is it okay to be friends with the exes? My initial response is hell no. But let me take a step back and let me properly evaluate and break this down. Number one, being friends with anyone is about boundaries. And what I mean by that is if we're going to have a new relationship at some point, or we are in a current relationship, then we have to understand that anyone, exes, non-exes, there has to be boundaries within friendship. But I do think that in most cases, we are playing with fire when we are friends with exes we have been intimate with. And so, and to me, like, why do you need to keep them around as a friend? Sometimes I think we, and this may sound bad, but I feel like we overvalue friendships. Hear what I'm saying? I'm not saying there aren't like some genuine friends you need to hold on to, but some of these friendships should not be worth throwing insecurity or negatively impacting what you feel is supposed to be a real serious relationship. And we've got to understand that the danger of having an ex is that, yeah, in most cases, you may maintain and manage yourself properly, but God forbid you have a vulnerable moment, something happens, you go cry on the shoulder of your ex, and stuff happens. It's not even that people are intentionally trying to do that, but that is what can happen when you have someone there who's familiar, who you've been intimate with, who knows you better than the average person knows you. That's a recipe for danger. And it's unfair to expect a potential relationship or a current relationship to fully accept this dynamic. Now, if we're talking friends with an ex, like, yo, we're cool, but we talk maybe once a year, once every couple of years, then maybe. And that does depend on the individuals and how they personally feel about that. But I do feel like a lot of people, they're doing too much. You're doing too damn much. Like, yo, that's not cool, and it's causes unnecessary problems for a relationship. And when I mean relationship, that ex relationship, that isn't necessary. It isn't necessary at all. So let's see here. Um, Someone says some exes are better as friends. Yes, they may have been better as a friend, but why are they needed to be kept around as a friend if your desire is to have a new or to nurture a current relationship? For many people, let me bring this up as well. Many people are hiding behind their ex's friendship. Many people do still have feelings. Many people don't want to put themselves out there for a new relationship, so they hold on to what's familiar to them because it provides them with some level of companionship. Now, again, this is not every person, but many people do this. So it just simply reiterates the fact that it's a dangerous dynamic and it's an unnecessary one. And if you don't need to have it, then why? Why do you have to hold on if you're trying to establish something new or nurture something that you currently have? All right, new super chat question. Hi, I've been talking to the guys for about 2 years, and his baby mamas or baby mama has been attacking me for months, and his he hasn't controlled it. He doesn't speak up for himself. All right, so number one, it is his responsibility as a man to address that issue. That is his baby's mother. It ain't yours. So it ain't your responsibility to have to handle that. He does. If he is unwilling or unable to handle it, now you need to ask yourself, could you deal with this for the next 3, 4, 5 years? Hell, could you deal with this for the next 6 months? If you know you cannot, because some people try to rationalize the fact that they can deal with it in the moment as a reason to continue and hold on. But you can't look at it like that. You got to look at it as, okay, if nothing changes, and right now he's showing no signs of changing this. If nothing changes for the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, whatever, can I be happy in this dynamic? And if you know you cannot be happy in that dynamic, and he is unwilling to speak up for himself and control the situation and handle it, you have to let him go. Because all you're doing is setting yourself up to be miserable and unhappy. All right, next super chat. It says, I'm dating this guy for a month. I don't shy away from my feelings. He does reciprocate, but I feel I may be doing too much. I put more effort. Thoughts? So again, if you doing too much is simply about who you truly are as an individual, then I don't want you to stop doing that. I want you to address him or address the issue with him and let him know what you want to see more out of him in return. If you doing too much is a symptom of I'm trying so hard for this guy to like me or to not lose this relationship that I'm going overboard to show my value, then stop it. Stop it if you are stepping out of your true self and character. So to give an example, consider it for a man. Let's say there's a man, he meets this woman, he really wants to impress her. So he takes her to this five-star restaurant. Maybe he even, and I'm not saying people do this, but maybe he even rents a car. Like he presents this lavish date because he's trying to impress her. But his true self is going to Popeyes, having some Hennessy at home and watching Netflix. Like, if that's your true self, and you are not going to be able to maintain this overdoing that you're showing in the beginning to get them to like you, this is a problem. Don't try to be something you're not to try to get someone to like you or want to be with you. But if that lavish lifestyle is who that man is, I'm not going to tell him to dumb it down. I'm going to tell him, yo, if that's who you are, then let her know what you require in return. Continue to be who you are and say, yo, if you want the benefits I provide, then this is what I'm looking for you in return. And if you're cool with that, then good. We're good. I don't have to change who I am. They're still going to step up to the plate. We're all happy. If they're like, yo, I'm not doing all that. All right, cool. Now you got to go. Now you got to go because now we're not on the same page. And if we're not going to match each other's effort, then why are we here? Let's see. All right, so this question says, I reconnected with a guy I knew since middle school. We talk on the phone only, and he lives with his ex. He knew since second grade. Should I back away? Yes, but again, you back away after addressing it. So again, you reconnected with the guy, you knew him since middle school, you guys talk on the phone, but the problem is he still lives with his ex. So my question to you, or the question I would say to bring to him is, what the hell is he trying to do here? What is his intentions? What is his vision here? Is it that he really wants to be with you and he's prepared to leave the ex to be with you and find his own place? And technically, if he's not with the ex but just living with her, is he prepared to move out of that situation? Because we just talked about being friends with ex is a problem, but hell, living with one, even a bigger problem. So you need to find out from him, what are we doing here? And if he doesn't have a plan of action, then you absolutely have to let him go and back away. But you always address it first and you let him know, this is why I'm backing away. I'm backing away because you live with your ex. You're not trying to do anything about it. You have no vision and plan here. So you've given me nothing to work with. When you figure it out, hit me up. We can start talking again at that time. Until then, you go your way, I'm going mine. All right. Big super chat question. Why would a guy say, you have a clarity and purpose about life, but I have no idea where I'm heading? You are really a good person and have a great destiny, and I don't want to hurt you. All right. So one, there's a couple angles we need to address here. One, this is the problem with men not finding their purpose and men lacking purpose in their life. Because what he's communicating in this situation is he has no purpose. He has no clue what that purpose is. Yet he feels you do. And in that, there's a level of intimidation, there's a level of insecurity, and there's an acknowledgement to where, can he even be the man you need when he doesn't know what the hell he's doing with himself? And so I would say I think he's being very genuine and honest, because that's not some random line that guys use to break things off. That's a very specific thing he's addressing. So he's saying flat out, I don't know where I'm going in life. You have something special about you. You know where you're going. And because I respect you, And I do hold you in high regard. I don't want to damage you or step into this when I can't give you what you need. Because another misconception that a lot of women have is that a lot of women just think that if a man has feelings for you, they'll want to be in a relationship with you. But the reality is that if a man truly respects you and views you in high regard, but genuinely feels like he is not where he needs to be the man that you deserve, he will back away. I have seen plenty of situations where men genuinely let go because they felt like, yo, I'm not ready to be what she needs and deserves. And because I don't want to hurt her in the meantime, I'm going to let go. Whereas the other guy who is not concerned about what he needs to be for you, the other guy who just cares about what you can do for him will latch on and try to push for a relationship because he's trying to leech off of you. He doesn't care about falling short. He doesn't care about not being able to provide what you require because he's looking at what he will get from it. But this guy, again, and I can never say 100%, but this guy sounds genuinely like he understands he cannot be what you need at the moment. And as much as that might hurt and that might suck to hear, we have to respect his honesty. We have to respect the maturity in understanding he needs some growth still. And you'll have to let him go. And again, letting somebody go isn't always about some negative, I'm cutting you off, you're done. Sometimes it's kind of like that whole saying, if you love it, you let it go. And if it's for you, it'll come back. It's like, you let go in love. You let go and say, okay, you know what? I understand that. And I pray and hope you get it together and that you are able to find your purpose. And if you need any encouragement, if you have encouragement for him, you can provide that in that moment. But you got to let him find his way. And then if he finds his way and you let him know, listen, if you figure it out and then you're ready to try to make something work here, my door is open. Many times we let people go and we make them think the door is closed. And so now they're afraid to even try to reach back out because they're thinking you're never going to accept them again. When we need to be honest, listen, in situations like this, where this man has not done anything malicious towards you, has not truly, tried to hurt you or anything like that, or betrayed you, then the door should not be fully shut, so to speak. It should just be, okay, now is not the time. And sometimes it is the right person, wrong time. So you got to let them go with love, but let them know, listen, you get it together, cool, come back, we'll have a discussion at that time, and we can make it work, we make it work. Other than that, we got to let go, because now, again, if you try to hold on, trying to build him into that man, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And it's not going to work out well for you. So it's best to just let it go, let him figure himself out, and continue to focus on you and what you need to be doing within your purpose. Let's see. All right, so this question says, what steps you recommend to open up and communicate, be vulnerable within a love relationship, both in love, but been hurt in past and fearful? So one of the best ways to communicate when it comes to opening up, expressing deep feelings, is to do it via a letter. The reality is that verbal communication with individuals rarely works. And it rarely works because most people might become defensive. You may get nervous and get distracted. You may not get everything out. So many things can go wrong in verbal communication when we're expressing deep things, concerns, feelings, so on and so forth. So doing it via letter is so effective because, one, it allows you to have time to get everything out. It allows you to evaluate the tone in which you're expressing yourself to make sure it's a more loving and positive tone. It also allows them the opportunity and the time to truly read without reading to rebuttal. Like when we get in a verbal conversation, many people listen to rebuttal, but when you read a letter, you can't rebuttal right then and there. So you actually read to process. So now they have time to process what you have to say. People are more receptive, more likely to understand the message through full communication via a letter. So I would argue that is the best way to go. But you mentioned you have been hurt in the past. So I would still highly encourage that you still go through a process of healing for yourself. And even in the process of healing, in the book about the heartbreak, I talk about writing the letters and how that needs to be done with the healing process as well. So let's not ignore that. But yes, using letters for verbal communication of deep feelings and issues is a very effective method in relationships. All right, so let's see here. Once again, real quick, if you didn't catch it the first time, if you want to learn more about healing, tap into your feminine energy, hearing God more clearly, just improving your overall quality of life, join my special program. 20 spots available. First 20 to take it, get it. Go to receivingmyblessings.com. www.receivingmyblessings.com. Let's see here. And once again, thank you for everyone who joined tonight. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Like I said, this was my first YouTube live, so it'll get better as we move forward now that I'm getting more used to this whole thing. So let's see. All right, so this question says, how come every time I mention wanting to be friends with this guy, I don't hear from him, but I hear from him any other time? Well, what that said, one, I would be interested to know that when you do hear from him, what is the conversation? What is he aiming for? What does he try to make happen with you? But it sounds like he's not interested in friendship, plain and simple. And when you're on that friend stuff, he cuts it off. And I'm gonna assume, I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna assume when he comes back around, he's trying to quote unquote kick it. He may be trying to angle his way for some intimacy. I don't know for sure, but he's damn sure not interested in friendship. And so if that's what you want with him, you have to take that signal, that clear message that he doesn't want it. Stop wasting your time with him and stop entertaining his phone conversations. Stop entertaining when he calls you. If he's not on the same page as you, then do not give him the green light on what he's trying to do on his end. It's not worth your time. Let him go. All right, another super chat. It says, when a guy keeps coming back and says he wants to be friends, but his actions are different, should I address the situation point blank and expose my feelings? All right, let me read that one more time. I'm sorry. When a guy keeps coming back and says he wants to be friends, but his actions are different, should I address the situation point blank and expose my feelings? Yes. One, let's address two of those things. Let's address one, you should address the situation point blank. We don't need to beat around the bush with people. I can't tell y'all how many situations have lingered on way longer than they should have because people did not properly address and communicate the issue. So we need to not be afraid to put it out there and lay things on the table, which then goes to exposing your feelings. And it's not about exposing. You see, when we use the word expose, we put this negative connotation on it. Free yourself of your feelings. Set yourself free of the truth. Let it out because doing so will take the weight off of your shoulders. So many of you are walking around with this heavy burden because you're holding too much in. You're not letting the truth be spoken. You're not expressing how you feel. It is healthy. Own your feelings. Be confident about where you are. Yes, some people may not embrace our feelings. Some people may reject it. Sometimes we won't get the outcome that we want, but guess what outcome you will get? You're going to feel a lot better because you said what you needed to say. And you will not have the lingering damage and hurt of suppression be with you because you held back, which is unhealthy, not just from an emotional standpoint, it's unhealthy spiritually and it's unhealthy physically. So many people who are developing illnesses develop it from stress, emotional stress that came from suppressed emotions and feelings. You have got to let it out. You will feel better. Whether it gives, and it's not about getting a certain result, it's about simply setting yourself free and not holding on to it any longer. So, we've been on here for an hour. I'm gonna stop there. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's live Q&A. I'm gonna try to do more or do it more often, maybe with a different setting as well. But either way, actually, you know what? There's one more super chat. So I'm gonna answer this one last super chat, and then we're gonna wrap this up for tonight. And again, one more time before I forget, if you want to join the program and take advantage of the 20 spots, go to receivingmyblessings.com. www.receivingmyblessings.com. All right, so last question. It says healing, but should you be completely alone in that process? So I actually answered this earlier, but I will answer it again. It's not that you have to, without a doubt, be alone. It is best. It is best to be single while healing so you can avoid additional triggers or additional potential damage that will only set yourself back. Again, when we look at it like an injury in sports, it is better to heal and strengthen your leg before you jump back into the game, because if you jump back too soon, you have a higher chance of re-injuring yourself. You got to get to a place where you feel good, where you're positive, where you don't hold on to those negative perceptions, where you can be vulnerable in a new relationship. And when you get to that point, now you can jump back in a relationship. Now, if something comes your way while in the process of healing, be careful, but that's a little bit more understandable. But do you need to be looking for a relationship when you're in healing? No, you don't. I think it would be best to be single and stay single, and understand that healing is about the work you put in. Many people equate healing to time. Time does not heal. Time alone does not heal. There has to be work put in. So don't think, oh my gosh, if I can only be single while I'm healing, I might be single for the next 2 years. You should not be in the process of healing for the next 2 years. If you are, you're not doing the work. When you do the work, it can be a lot faster than you realize. You got to take the necessary steps. Again, consider joining the program, or if you want a simpler route, consider getting the book Love After Heartbreak. It lays it out, but putting in the work is what will get you to healing. So again, thank you. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for joining me tonight. I will try this more often. Go to receivingmyblessings.com, and I will see you guys next time.